Hi everyone, Tom Tubergen here, and today I want to share with you 7 effective techniques to fly your law firm straight into the ground. Another colleague of mine recommended a title, Do We Ever Learn from Our Past Mistakes and Screw-Ups? These 7 techniques are material that we had collected from our recent research into the root causes of all of the law firm failures during the past 10 years in an effort to gain some sort of an insight into the best ways to help our clients be successful. Now, in a sense, this specific topic is a bit frustrating for me because my consulting firm continually sees these exact same issues pop up repeatedly. In other words, it's not like we take the time to look back at the challenges of the past 10 years and then say to ourselves, gee, we could have or should have done things differently. And it's frustrating because I like to see everybody be successful. On the other hand, it's definitely good for my business because it generates a continual flow of new clients who need help, and they're the same old issues for which we have immediate solutions. Whenever I give a speech or a presentation on a similar topic, I typically prefer to focus on the positive spin to this topic, collecting and copying successful management and marketing techniques to become as successful in your own right as possible. But the harsh realities and the lessons of the last 5 or 10 years can't be overlooked. And I know from personal experience that too many law firm entrepreneurs just don't get it. So my hope is that if I take some time in this video to clearly articulate the 7 most critical management mistakes that you can make that threaten the viability of your business, you might be motivated to take some action to undo the damage and avoid a bad outcome at some point in the future. Now, having said that, this is actually meant to be a rather short, quick introduction to the topic, and it's designed to help bring a few of these issues to your attention and make you aware of them. I just don't have the time in this short video to provide an in-depth analysis for each of these issues, so I hope that you're going to cut me a little bit of a slack here on that. I'm not the only management consultant that recognizes the danger of being stuck in a rut. Management guru Peter Drucker stated that the greatest danger in times of turbulence isn't the turbulence, it's to continue acting or responding with yesterday's logic. And I'm certain you've heard of Albert Einstein's theory of insanity, right? Doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result. Yeah, you've heard all of these quotes before. Why? Because there's more than just an element of truth to them. So here's this list of 7 deadliest management mistakes that you can make. And they're not arranged in any particular order or priority. And just bear in mind that we're going to examine each of these individually as we move forward through our video. The first one is a refusal to respond or react to economic changes. An unwillingness to try new marketing approaches or techniques that utilize today's cultural and social ways of communicating with each other. Not paying attention to the management details of running your law firm. A failure to adapt to changing priorities. An inability to, or lack of ability to change course, to change directions, to emphasize new realities in the legal profession. Lacking a realistic, achievable strategic focus for your law firm. And then the final one is achieving below average financial performance. So let's talk about a refusal to respond or react to economic changes. You know, most law firms have continued to raise their billing rates every year since 2008 without recognizing or acknowledging the downturn in their own clients' businesses. According to the 2012 Real Rate Report, which came out obviously a couple of years ago, the cost of an hour of a lawyer's time continues to grow faster than any key measure of inflation, despite an economy that is struggling. And as a result, larger corporate clients, once the exclusive property of the national top 250 law firms, has discovered the benefits of using smaller regional firms. And from the perspective of a professional consultant, there are specific scenarios where you might contemplate bumping your rate structure, but doing so because the calendar just flipped over to a new year is just not an acceptable reason. And also worth noting here is that smaller law firms have the ability to offer a lot more competitive pricing structures and alternative fee arrangements to accommodate the new economic realities of your clients. So if you're a leader or you're the managing director of your law firm, make sure that you're aware and very tuned in to this competitive advantage that you have. During an economic downturn, most law firms and virtually every other business besides legal professions reactively respond by cutting expenditures and reducing the amount of money that they will spend on marketing and customer service at a time when they need clients the most. They rely on all of the older pre-2008 methods or pre-2006 methods of generating new client leads, like referrals. These law firms have completely failed to understand and see the shift in client preferences for using the internet to select a lawyer or a law firm. And as a result, they continue to ignore all of the new media marketing technologies and techniques and communication channels and social media. How about a lack of management leadership? Like a lack of oversight for paying the bills, making sure human resources are taken care of and running smoothly, generating new clients. You know, another key issue for law firms is just this whole lack of management leadership. And this is actually an issue for which I personally have very little sympathy. Management leadership includes the daily oversight for all of these management activities like paying those bills, the human resources issues, generating new clients, and growing your business. A common response that I will personally hear is that practicing law is more important to you than having to deal with these issues. And that certainly might be true, in which case I strongly recommend that you just go get a job as a lawyer working for somebody else. Your immediate reality is that you are a business owner. You may still be a lawyer, but your role as a business owner and as a leader supersedes any role that you have as a practitioner of law. People who fall into this bucket need to understand that there are other people's livelihoods at stake, your employees and your family. They all depend on your ability to successfully fulfill your role as a business manager first. Law firms routinely fail to recognize that the priorities of most lawyers have changed. Lifestyle, spending time with family, and enjoying, heaven forbid, non-lawyer activities has become a higher priority to the new, younger attorneys that are coming up through the system. Many law firms have missed this opportunity to offer less costly benefits like flexible hours or generous vacation policies to attract and retain key intellectual talent. Another strategy for flying your law firm into the ground is an inability to change course. Many law firms are unwilling or unable to change their business plan, even when the marketplace clearly suggests that they should. Many areas of practice that thrived prior to 2006 are no longer the most profitable. And an example of this is while the real estate was one of the more lucrative practice areas until just a few years ago, this market has had a significant downturn in nearly every part of the country. Now that other practice areas dominate law firm revenues, some firms lack the wisdom and the leadership to reallocate those resources into more promising practice areas. A lack of strategic focus. Most of the law firms that we saw and that we studied in our research on law firm failures had no realistic strategic focus of achievable goals for 1 year out and for 5 years out. It was a common theme. And then the last effective strategy for driving your law firm into the ground is achieving below average financial performance. At the end of the day, almost nothing makes up for your lack of profitability or lack of financial management. So those are the 7 strategies for flying your law firm into the ground. So what are some of the takeaways? So what are some of the things that you could learn from this specific list? And let's cover those real quickly here before we end our presentation. The first one is to develop a sensitivity to the economic environment in your neighborhood. For example, in the Southeast Michigan area where I'm located, the economic signals in 2006 were already very dark and looming overhead, very ominous. And that was 2 to 3 years before any of the other regions of the country started to see the same sinister indicators. Don't be afraid to experiment with new marketing initiatives or techniques or methods of reaching your target clients. The way we communicate and do business with each other has repeatedly evolved during the last 5 to 10 years, and that pace is not slowing down. Overcompensate for your lack of management expertise if you feel that's one of your weaknesses. Professional athletes are keenly aware of their weaknesses, and they compensate by overtraining in that specific area. In the same way, you need to overcompensate by learning new management techniques and strategies. Adapt to changing priorities in the legal profession and in society. Lifestyle and family-related issues are far more important to people than they might have been 20-25 years ago. Develop a flexibility with your strategic direction. Be able to make adjustments in your firm's priorities and objectives as the needs dictate. And did I mention strategy and strategic direction? It's absolutely amazing to me the number of small and medium law firms that I meet with who don't have an overall strategy because they just don't have the time, which implies that they wouldn't follow it even if they did. Focus on your financial performance. If your monthly costs and your expenses aren't routinely lower than your sales and your income, it won't be long before you're looking for new employment. So this is one of the management or marketing topics that I am particularly passionate about, and I'm interested in your thoughts on this particular topic. What do you see as some of the biggest challenges in the legal profession right now as far as managing your law firm or managing your law practice? Use the discussion comments that are below the video window here to share your thoughts and your ideas with the larger legal community. Now, before I bring this video to a close, I just wanted to give you a heads up that there's actually a third piece of this series that's going to be released here in the next couple of days. Except that this next unit is not actually going to be a video such as this. It's actually going to use some cutting-edge e-learning software from Adobe to give you a live learning module presentation. And there will also be some downloadable financial planning spreadsheets and documents attached to that module that I know that you're going to use in your own law practice right away. So I'm going to be sending out the link to that presentation here in the next couple of days. So again, make sure that these email notices aren't automatically just heading straight into your spam folder by default. And that's really important. Just take a minute to check that that is not taking place. So I'm not sure about you, but I love seeing all of the observations and quotes made over the years by people who are a whole lot smarter than I am. But before we end, I just want to challenge you whether you're perceptive enough to take all of that wisdom from these highly intelligent people and apply it to your own set of circumstances. There's a scientific reality here that's called the Pareto principle, which is the formal name for something we commonly refer to as the 80-20 rule. My reality as a management and a marketing consultant is that 80% of the law firm owners will literally say to me, "Yep, I heard that quote before, old news." All of which explains why there's such a high turnover of law firms these days. Have a great day, everybody, and make it a truly profitable one as well.